The Thresher's Labor is one of 3 poems written by a common worker, Stephen Duck, in 1730. Duck wrote the Thresher's Labor after a friend, Reverend Stanley, suggested that Duck write about his life. The poem is a description of Duck's struggles as an agricultural laborer, and a representation of the working class in general. At the time, it was the best description of the oppression of the working class at the time. The Thresher's Labor became the voice, in a sense, for the rural laborers who were oppressed. It also became a model for other common laborers to follow, as many other common workers began to write about their lives and their daily experiences. The Thresher's Labor was the start of a new genre of literature was developed by the working class people. The Thresher's Labor gives details about the hard, tedious labor of an agricultural worker of the 18th century, soon as the golden harvest quits the plain, and Ceres gifts reward the farmer's pain, what corn each sheaf will yield, intent to hear, and guess from thence the profits of the year. He calls his reapers forth, around we stand, with deep attention, waiting his command. To each our task he readily divides, and pointing, to our different stations guides. As he directs, to distant barns we go, here too for wheat, and there for barley too. But first, to shew what he expects to find, these words, or words like these, disclose his mind. So dry the corn was carried from the field, so easily 'twill thresh, so well 'twill yield, sure large days' works I well may hope for now. Come, strip and try, let us see what you can do. Response to the Thresher's Labor. In the Thresher's Labor, Stephen Duck mentions that the females did not contribute much during the harvests, the hardest time of the year. Duck portrays the workers as strong men, covered in dust from their work, while mentioning that the women are at home taking care of the children. The sweat, the dust, and suffocating smoke, make us so much like Ethiopians look, we scare our wives, when evening brings us home, and fright infants think the bugbear come. Week after week, we this dull task pursue, unless when windwing days produce a new, indeed, but frequently a worse. These statements enraged feminists and Mary Collier, a common washerwoman, who knew that women most often worked alongside the men. Collier wrote a poem called The Woman's Labor, which was directed at Stephen Duck in response to the Thresher's Labor. The Woman's Labor corrects and criticizes Duck's statements about women's contributions. Collier brought up specific statements and topics from Duck's poem to discuss. Full text of the Thresher's Labor academic paper about the Thresher's Labor literary technique, the aestheticization of laboring experience, and generic experimentation in Stephen Duck's The Thresher's Labor. Steve Van Hagen.